I understand sometimes we go through experiences that feel meaningless, unfair, or just too heavy to bear, but what if your struggles are preparing you for something greater? What if your hardest moments are guiding you to your true purpose? If you have been wondering if there is purpose in your pain, I want to assure you today that God does not waste anything. Not your tears, not your silence, and not your story. Welcome back to If Only One Overcomes. I'm your host, Katie Lee, and I'm so glad you're here. If you are new, welcome. We are on a journey of healing, overcoming, and finding purpose in the middle of life's hardest battles. Last week, we talked about releasing shame and stepping into self-worth. If you haven't listened yet, I encourage you to check it out after this episode. Before we begin today's episode, I want you to know that If Only One Overcomes is more than a podcast. It's a community, a safe space for healing, hope, and heart-to-heart truth. Let me acknowledge something important. I understand that the pain you've experienced, whether it's loss, betrayal, trauma, or heartbreak, is not something to take lightly. This is a sensitive topic, and I want you to know that I see you, I hear you, and I've been there too. So I'm not here to rush you through your pain or throw empty words at your wounds. Instead, I plan to take my time as we explore this together, gently, honestly, and with grace, because I truly believe that God can bring purpose out of pain. And I pray that at the end of this episode, you feel a little more seen, a little more understood, and a whole lot more hopeful. Today, we're diving into a big question. Can anything good come from pain? If you have ever wondered why you had to go through what you did, or if your suffering has any meaning, this episode is for you. I want to show you that your pain is not wasted, and there is a greater purpose, even if you can't see it yet. I understand that it's hard to see a purpose in pain when you're in the middle of it. We ask, why me? What did I do to deserve this? But what if instead of asking why, we start to ask what? What can I learn from this? What strength is being developed in me? What can I do with this experience to help others? Let's look at a biblical example. Let's explore Joseph's story in Genesis 50:20. It says, "You intended it to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done." This relates to our theme of purpose and pain. It's about forgiveness and God's divine plan. You see, Joseph, one of the sons of Jacob, was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned for many years. But through it all, God's favor never left him. By Genesis 50, Joseph is second in command in Egypt, and his brothers, they feared retaliation. But instead of vengeance, Joseph reassured them, showing incredible forgiveness. What can we learn from this? 1, that God can use pain for purpose. Joseph endured betrayal, injustice, and years of suffering. But through all those trials, he was positioned to save an entire nation from famine. Your deepest pain may be preparation for a greater purpose. 2, people may have harmful intentions, but God has sovereign plans. Joseph's brothers meant to destroy his future, but God repurposed their evil for good. What was meant to break you, God can use to bless you. 3, forgiveness frees us to move forward. Joseph chose compassion over revenge. This moment reflects the power of releasing bitterness and walking in healing. Forgiveness isn't saying that what happened is okay. It's trusting God to use it for something greater. And 4, redemption takes time. Joseph's full story spans Genesis 37 through 50, over 13 chapters and many years. God's promises often unfolds through a process, not instantly. Before we dive in any further, I want to share something with you from my heart. There have been seasons in my life when the pain felt unbearable, moments that left me feeling lost, broken, and questioning everything that I thought I knew about hope, healing, and even myself. I'm not going to go into every detail, but I've walked through abuse, deep loss, heartbreak, and a season when I didn't know if I was going to make it. I've sat in silence with grief that had no words. I carried shame that didn't belong to me. And I've prayed prayers through tears when I couldn't even find the strength to speak them aloud. But somewhere in that darkness, God met me. He didn't take me out of the pain all at once, but He walked with me through it. And over time, the very things that I thought would break me became the very things that connected me to others. And that's how If Only One Overcomes was born. Not from perfection, but from pain. Not from strength, but from surrender. Because if my voice, my healing, my journey can help even just one person find hope again, then everything I've been through was not wasted. And I want you to know the same is true for you. I understand sometimes we go through experiences that feel meaningless, unfair, or just too heavy to bear, but what if your struggles are preparing you for something greater? What if your hardest moments are guiding you to your true purpose? If you have been wondering if there is purpose in your pain, I want to assure you today, God does not waste anything, not your tears, not your silence, and not your story. We have to find purpose in our story. Finding purpose in your story does not mean that you get all the answers, but it does mean that you can begin to look at your story differently. It's not about minimizing the pain. It's about recognizing that God can redeem every part of your journey, and you can look at the broken pieces and ask, what is God building through this? We have to shift our perspective. Pain will often try to convince us that we have been overlooked by God, but that's not true. Your pain is not proof that you've been abandoned. It's often proof that you're being refined. Listen, God does not cause our pain, but He can use it to transform us from the inside out. Even in the silence, even in the waiting, God is still working behind the scenes. Your tears are not wasted. Your suffering has not gone unnoticed. God sees, He knows, and He is shaping something beautiful in you, even if you can't see it yet. So instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what can I learn? Who can I help? How is God growing me in this? Yes, even when it feels like nothing is happening, God is working behind the scenes. He's building something in you that's stronger than what tried to break you. In Isaiah 43:19, it says, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? God sees the whole picture. Even when it looks like everything is falling apart, He's actually putting the pieces together in ways we can't see yet. Even in the darkest moments, God is still working behind the scenes. When we stop asking why me and start asking what is God growing in me through this, everything changes. And then we'll be able to look at what we gained through the hardship. Sometimes we focus on what we've lost that we forget to recognize what we gain. Would we be the person we are today without the pain we walked through? Through hardship, many of us gained strength we didn't know we had, resilience that helps us rise again, compassion that softens us towards others, wisdom that came from surviving the storm which we could not have earned any other way. You may not be thankful for what happened, but you can be thankful for how God is using it to develop you. Ask yourself, would I be who I am today without what I've been through? This does not mean that the pain was good, but that it means you didn't come out empty. Sometimes the growth is in the purpose. Pain has a way of growing things in us that peace could never. Strength, resilience, compassion, wisdom, and deeper faith. Think about it and ask yourself, would I be who I am today without what I've been through? You might not choose the pain, but it has shaped part of you that is now equipped you to carry purpose, and you'll be able to help others. One of the most beautiful ways to find purpose in pain is to turn it around and use it to help someone else. There is power in your story. What once made you cry could one day be a reason someone else finds hope. You don't have to have a platform to make an impact. You just have to be willing. Your story, your scars, can be someone else's survival guide. There is power in your story. And there are some simple ways that you can use your story. You can encourage someone going through a similar challenge. You can volunteer in your community or church to mentor others who are a step behind you in the healing process. Or you can simply be a safe place for someone to be honest. You don't have to have it all figured out to make a difference. You just have to be willing to say, me too, and God brought me through. Because your survival, your story is not just for you. It's for someone else's breakthrough. It's a light for someone else who's still in darkness. And you don't have to be fully healed to start helping. Sometimes just saying, I've been there too, can change someone else's life. We have to surrender the why and trust the process. Let's be honest, there are some whys we may never get the answer on this side of heaven, and that's okay. One of the hardest things to do in painful seasons is to let go of the why this happened question. But listen, you don't have to understand why something happened to believe God can bring purpose from it. But what if peace don't come from answers, but from surrender? You don't have to understand it all right now. Sometimes the purpose becomes clearer later, when you're stronger, when someone says, thank you for sharing your story. It gave me hope. That's when you realize it didn't break me, it built me. In Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Not in having all the answers, but in trusting in the one who does. In Romans 8:28 reminds us that God works all things together for good. Not just the easy things, not just the things we pray for, all things, even this. Remember, God can take even the most painful experience and use them for something greater. It does not make the pain okay, but it does make it not wasted. Whether you are just beginning your healing or still waiting for your breakthrough, let me remind you again today, there is purpose in your pain, and God is writing a story with it that's bigger than you think. Your pain may not make sense. It may not feel fair. And no, it may not be okay. But it is not wasted. God sees it. He will use it. And one day you'll look back and say, that chapter almost broke me, but it also birthed something beautiful in me. There is purpose in your pain, and God is writing a story with it far greater than you can ever imagine. Okay, overcomers, we are at the end. Think about a time when you went through something hard. Now ask yourself, what did that season teach you? How can you use it to encourage someone else? If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need it. And if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me on social media at If Only One Overcomes. I would love to hear from you. Next week, we will be talking about healing is not linear, why setbacks don't mean you're failing. And as always, remember, your life is too important because God has a plan and a purpose for your life. Until the next episode, God bless.